মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে, মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে। সংসার বিদেশে বিদেশীর দেশে ভ্রম কেন অকারণে, মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে। বিষয় পঞ্চক আর ভূতগণ সবে তোর পর, কেহ নয় আপন। বিষয় পঞ্চক আর ভূতগণ সবে তোর পর, কেহ নয় আপন। পর প্রেমে কেন হয়ে অচেতন, ভুলিছ আপন জনে, মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে। সত্য পথে মন করো আরোহণ, প্রেমের আলো জালে চলো অনুক্ষণ। সঙ্গেতে সম্বল রাখো পুণ্য ধন, গোপনে অতি যতনে। লোভ মহাদে পথে দস্যুগণ, পথিকের করে সর্বসমসন। লোভ মহাদে পথে দস্যুগণ, পথিকের করে সর্বসমসন। পরম যতনে রাখো রে প্রহরে, সমদম দুই জনে, মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে। সাধু সংঘ নামে আছে পন্থ ধাম, শান্ত হলে তথা করিবে বিশ্রাম। পথ ভ্রান্ত হলে শুধাইবে পথ, সে পন্থ নিবাসী গণে। যদি দেখো পথে ভয়েরি আকার, প্রাণে প্রাণে দিও দোহাই রাজার। যদি দেখো পথে ভয়েরি আকার, প্রাণে প্রাণে দিও দোহাই রাজার। সে পথে রাজার প্রবল প্রতাপ, সমদরে যার শাসনে, মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে। সংসারে বিদেশে বিদেশীর বেশে ভ্রম কেন
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. At the very outset, I offer my... We have an interesting connection in our order and Netherlands. One important connection is right there on top. You can see the symbol of the Ramakrishna order. And this is an interesting connection between Swami Vivekananda and the Netherlands ashrama and the New York ashrama. Because it was in New York, Swami Vivekananda was there and his lectures were being published. He established the Vedanta Society of New York in 1894. His lectures were being printed as pamphlets. And the printer, who was a Dutch man, I can never pronounce his name.
Henry Jan van Hagen.
Henry Jan van Hagen. Yes. So he was there, he was printing. He was also a draftsman, could make designs and drawing. So he asked Swami Vivekananda, he came and he said, your lecture is going to be printed, but it would be nice to have a symbol which we can print in front of that. And Vivekananda was sitting at the breakfast table on, I think either it was a cloth on which he, or paper. Envelope. On the, there were no tissue papers at that time. They were much more elegant times. They would have turned their nose down at our tissue paper, nothing like that. So they had, but it was an envelope, and he opened the envelope and the inner side of it. He quickly scratched out a diagram and he tossed it across the table and he said, draw it to scale. So Henry saw that and he asked, what's the meaning of this? And if you now look there, Vivekananda explains. He says that the sun and the background, the rising sun symbolizes knowledge. The lotus in the foreground, it symbolizes devotion, love, bhakti. The wavy waters symbolizes karma, action. And the whole thing is encircled by a serpent. You can see the cobra encircling the whole thing. That is a symbol of the Kundalini Shakti, or basically the power of meditation or focus. And by a combination of all of these, a harmony of all of these, knowledge, devotion, service or action, and meditation, the Paramatman, the Swan in the middle, the Paramatman, which is the symbol for the Supreme Self, it is realized. And so that became the symbol for the Ramakrishna order. And connected to it is this gentleman from Netherlands, a Dutchman, and the New York ashrama, and the Netherlands ashrama. In that sense we are here today. That's the connection. Also another connection is here, right here, on our right side there is a picture of Swami Atulanandaji, who was Dutch, and he was in New York at that time, and very influenced by Swami Vivekananda. He had some deep spiritual awakening also. And he was very close to Swami Vivekananda. Later on, Swami Abhedananda, who was in the New York Vedanta Society for more than 20 years. And then, he was the first Western Swami. There were a number of Western devotees, some of whom became monks of Vivekananda, and the other later Swamis. But the first one who actually came and stayed for the whole of his life in India, till the end of his life, that was Swami Atulanandaji. There are a couple of very nice books with the Swamis in America and India. That's a wonderful book of reminiscences of Swami Atulanandaji, many wonderful stories. And Atman Alone Abides, that's also there, that book. He was also, I'm sure he was an enlightened person, a spiritually realized person. So these are some of the connections. And we are here today, what more can one say? So when Revered Maharaj asked me to give a talk here, I thought I'll select a topic which I have talked about many times. But I'll speak a little bit about it and then we'll open it up for question answers and discussions. And Maharaj assures us he has coffee for all of us for the Q&A session. So we can have a relaxed, informal Q&A session, we can interact. The reason why I chose this topic is interesting. The inquiry into the seer and the seen. There are different ways of being spiritual. This is something the ancient Hindus came across. This was actually the central project of the Indian civilization. Yesterday somebody asked me in Amsterdam, what is moksha? Moksha is the central project of the Indian civilization. For thousands of years, in India, the concern of the civilization has been, is there a deep solution to the human condition, the problem of the human condition? Is it possible? Is it possible to overcome limitations, sorrow, suffering, unhappiness? Is it possible to attain deep and lasting fulfillment? And the answer they found, again and again, the question was asked many times, and the answer they found again and again, yes, yes, yes. And this became for better or worse, this became the central concern of Indian civilization. We discovered many ways to it. We have given it names. Moksha is one name, freedom. Mukti, another name, freedom. Nirvana, Kaivalya, Apavarga, multiple names in Sanskrit. And today we can call it liberation, salvation, God realization, whatever you call it, self-realization. So all these multiple ways were found to this phenomenon, this culminating experience, this whole reason for existence. Why is there a world at all? Why are we here? What is the point of life? The point of life is this: attainment of God realization, self-realization. Swami Vivekananda said the goal of life is the manifestation of the divinity already within us. So when you say manifestation of the divinity already within us, that's a very interesting way of putting it. That's a way of defining spirituality today. It has two aspects. Manifestation of the divinity within us has two aspects. One is, first of all, you have to know it. You have to realize it. You have to see that it is there. I am not just a bundle of flesh and blood. I am not just born the other day and destined to die in a few days' time. I am just not born to suffer a lot, enjoy a little bit. I am not just born to know a little bit and then go out covered in ignorance. No. Our destiny is a spiritual destiny, and that is the purpose of human life. To realize that's number one. But it's not just enough to realize, to understand it, to know it. One must also be able to live it. So that manifestation, the word manifestation is very interesting. Manifestation means knowing it, that I am Brahman, I am limitless consciousness, I am not a body, I am the soul. And knowing that's true. But also living that. Vivekananda said elsewhere, my mission in life can be put in a few words. It is to teach unto humanity their inner divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. That means in our work, in our loving, in our relating to others, in our in our quests, in our understanding, in our action and speech, everywhere that inner divinity should shine forth. We should be able to solve our problems first and foremost. I joke sometimes that if you are enlightened, then you have lost all right to complain. You can't grumble about anything anymore, so don't be in a hurry to be enlightened. So we must be able to solve our problems first. It's no use I'm an enlightened being, but I have many complaints, a list of my grudges and complaints. No, that doesn't go together. So our own problems we should be able to solve, but also be a blessing to humanity. Not that we'll be able to solve all the problems of humanity, nobody ever has, and that's the human condition itself. But we should have a tremendous positive impact on people around us and our circumstances. So that is the manifestation of the divinity within us. There are these two aspects of spirituality. One is called a paradigm shift. I'm calling it a paradigm shift. The other is called an ethical manifestation. Actually, what I'm saying is this is a paper on Buddhism which I read about enlightenment. And there the author says there are these two aspects of enlightenment. In speaking in a Buddhist context, he says we must have the same realization that the Buddha had, that's one aspect. But also one expects from an enlightened person some of the qualities of a Buddha. The love, the selflessness, the fearlessness, the self-command or control, and many other divine qualities. Qualities which a saint is supposed to have. So we expect some of that from it. If a person is enlightened, we expect some of those qualities also. That's the ethical manifestation. So enlightenment has these two, or God realization, spirituality has these two aspects. One is the paradigm shift, the enlightenment itself, and the other is the ethical manifestation. The qualities, the ethical qualities should manifest in our life in a powerful, unmistakable way. Even I was thinking the word enlightenment has two meanings, if we play on the word. Light, meaning light. So light dawns, and we were living in darkness till now. Light, for the first time I see. Oh, I get it. I see for the first time. Light comes to our lives. Spiritual light. So that's enlightenment, that's one side. And playing on the word, light means halka in Hindi or Bengali. Your burdens are gone. You feel lighter. So there must be some manifestation, solution of our problems, so that the heaviness of life goes away. You live lighter. In light and also lighter. And just playing on the word. But these two sides. Today, why I am saying all this? Today we will speak about one dimension. The seer and the seen which we are going to speak about, it stresses the enlightenment side of it, the knowledge side of it, the realization side of it, the paradigm shift side of it. Earlier I thought I was this, now I realize I am that. And this paradigm shift happens. But the consequences of it will be the ethical manifestation. The consequences of it will be the manifestation of the divinity within us. The consequences of this enlightenment will be the lighter living, will be the more graceful living, the more saintly living. Right. Having said that, I said there were different paths were discovered. Various teachings, various masters, enlightened beings came to India, and because there was an openness to diversity in religious life, in philosophy, in thinking in India from ancient times. So multiple approaches to spirituality were fostered, nourished, encouraged and developed. We all know in the Rig Veda, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahuda Vadante. The truth is one, the wise speak of it differently. There is a writer who lives near New York in Princeton, Robert Wright. He's a neo-Darwinist, an evolutionist. But he has written a book, The Evolution of God. The Evolution of God, by which he does not mean God evolves, he says religions evolve. And he has discussed Christianity, Judaism and Islam, not about the Eastern Indian religions. But at the very end, he asks, what is the possibility of peace between religions? And he says, there is one possibility, which the ancient Indians discovered, which is the Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. They discovered that there is one truth. It is one. Truth is one. However, when you bring it into human discourse, you can express it in different language, different philosophy, different approaches. It's possible. And therefore, difference does not mean that one is true and the other is false. This is such a beautiful thing. It's not just some Vedic scholars know it. It's just not that some monks or enlightened persons or pandits know it. It is something, those who are from India, it's in the very blood of the Indian people. It's in some ancient social engineering, how this got into the culture itself. It's only when we come out of India and go to other parts of the world and we see it is not so in all other parts of the world. So that is an amazing thing. And he thinks it's one of the things which India can share. Vivekananda gave a talk back in India, or here in the West, what India can teach the West. And among the things he said, one of the things was this: how harmony can be there between different religions. This we know was one of the main teachings of his master, Sri Ramakrishna. Jato mat tato pat. It's a Bengali saying, it's very popular in Bengal. As many faiths, so many ways to God realization. So it's not just that Vedanta is right, but so is, the non-dualists are right, Advaitins, but so are the Vishishta-Advaitins, the dualists, the Dvaitins, so are he would say, the Brahmos, the Hindus. At that time, the Brahmos used to consider themselves as other than Hindus, Reformed sect. The Christians, the Muslims, Buddhists. He also knew, Sri Ramakrishna knew some Sikhs who lived near the Dakshineshwar temple. The Sikhs, all of them, anybody who seeks God sincerely, they will all reach God. So as many faiths, so many paths. Among the different approaches to enlightenment, one of the approaches, sort of the royal road, let us say, which you find in the Upanishads, is the approach of knowledge. What we today call Jnana Yoga. Swami Vivekananda also called it Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. In the West, unfortunately, when you say yoga, one thing people immediately think is that you go to a yoga studio and a school and you wear yoga pants and you stretch and you take asana positions. That is yoga, no doubt about it. That's yoga. But we know it's Hatha Yoga. It's the physical dimension of yoga. Yoga is vast. It is that which joins us to the Supreme. That which connects the individual, Jivatma, to the Supreme Self, Paramatma. Yoga, to connect, yoga. So there are these different yogas. One yoga is this yoga of knowledge. There is an approach to spiritual life which says God exists. How do you know? Don't ask. Our book says so. Our authority says so. Our tradition says so. And it says in this way. And you must believe in this way. Now that's not wrong. It is religion based on authority. But it's not wrong. It will also work. It's one way. And many people have a resistance to it. Many people have resistance. This is the land of Spinoza. And I was so happy that day before yesterday, gentleman, a philosopher, an Indian philosopher working here in the University of Tilburg, he gave me a copy of Spinoza here itself. So, and on the cover of that edition, Spinoza says, there's a quotation, a translation from Spinoza, which says, blessedness is not the reward of virtue, it is virtue itself. We enjoy blessedness not because we have been able to overcome our passions, but we are able to overcome our passions because we delight in blessedness. In today's language, if you put holiness, for example, spirituality, holiness. So holiness, spirituality itself is virtue. All virtues flow from it. And not that first of all we have to become saintly and then we will become spiritual, we will be able to approach God. No, the other way around. If we...
Excuse me, please pardon me. A car is obstructing the way.
Oh, okay. Can you announce which car?
There is a Ford car, number 07 NKT 03.
It is obstructing the neighbor, they
Yes.
cannot bring out the car.
So if someone could move the car.
Do you know whose car? You can repeat the name of the model and the number? Answer. Yes, it is possible. Others have seen earlier and you too can. Not only you too can, we also must. We can and we must see God. That is the whole project of our life. The problem there, if you want to find a problem at all, is first of all, it's not here now. We are not right now seeing God. As one psychiatrist said, it's perfectly alright to talk to God, but if God talks back, call me. Psychiatrist. So generally we are not having these mystical experiences. They are rare. They are rare. But sometimes nowadays they are not so rare. I've seen in Central Park, and I saw in Amsterdam yesterday also. So people are high. They are lightened, and I don't know how enlightened they are. So they are high on weed, and but that's the criticism, that these mystical experiences, people always have criticized mystics by saying that you're mad. What's the first reception that mystics have in any religion, any century, any time of the human civilization? You're mad. What was the reception of Sri Ramakrishna? The people around in Dakshineshwar in the Kali temple, when he had all these visions of Kali and then many others of divine experiences. They said they called him the mad priest of the Kali temple. So the mystic, first of all, we react by saying, you're crazy. Why? Because the experiences they are reporting are extraordinary and we don't have those experiences. If I say, I'm sitting here and you can see the Swami sitting here on the stage, we'll all agree, yeah, that's fine. But if you say, oh, I am seeing a pink elephant in the middle of the hall, you'll think you're crazy. Why? Because we are no one else is seeing it. It is there, actually such a thing was there. Everyone should be able to see it. But we are not seeing it. Therefore, it follows there's something wrong with you. Nowadays, people will not say that you're crazy, that's not polite. But a neuroscientist will say that you have a clot in your brain and that's what's generating that experience. We don't doubt that you are seeing it. You feel you're seeing God, but you're not seeing God. It's a clot in the brain. It's putting some pressure on some nerves and you are having a feeling of oneness with the universe and all of that. Or Freud will say it is the oceanic feeling which you had as a baby in the mother's womb and they are reverting back to that. Sort of a more polite, scholarly way of saying the same thing, you're crazy. Not that mystics are crazy. Not at all. Compared to them, we are probably crazy. So genuine mystics, there are genuine mystics. It can be tested. That, does it improve your character? Does it solve your problems? Does it make you, in fact, a much better person than you were earlier? Anyway, that's one way. Now, what we're going to talk about is neither the path of believing something, nor the path of meditating and getting one type of experience. What we're going to do now is this investigation into our present experience. Not belief, trying to know. How do we know anything? Whenever we want to know anything, what do? We inquire. We inquire. Google. We ask to Google. I saw this cartoon that the person who is inventing a watch, and another person is asking, what does it do? It will tell you the precise time. Oh, how will you know the precise time? How do you know which is the precise time? Good question. Let me ask Google. So inquire. We ask a question. And here it is the path of self-inquiry. Why self-inquiry? Because this Advaita Vedanta, it claims that what you're looking for, it's already there and it is you, Tattvamasi. Not that you have to believe it. In fact, you shouldn't believe it. You should inquire into it and see for yourself. So the path of inquiry, this questioning, inquiry, to realize what we are. So it's not believing. It's also not trying to get an extraordinary new experience. See, the thing about mystical, how somebody said, this realization which you're talking about, how is it different from a mystical experience? There are some differences. First of all, mystical experiences come and go. We are trying to get them, which means we don't have it yet. And when we do get them, generally it doesn't persist. But it reveals, it transforms, it lights up your life, but it goes, it becomes a memory. And it can happen again, it can come again. If you see Sri Ramakrishna's Samadhi, it will come and go. Many times in a day maybe. So it's not episodic. What we are looking for is always there. If it's always there, why don't I see it? Why isn't it obvious to me that I am pure consciousness, that I am the Atman? Why aren't my problems automatically solved? Well, the answer from this Advaitic path is that we have a sort of ignorance about it. We don't see. This not seeing is of the nature of that border guard, not seeing what Mullah Nasruddin was smuggling. He was seeing. He was seeing the donkey. But he didn't know what he was seeing. Similarly, it's like that. We are experiencing it all the time. And when we do get it, it will be like, it's not that something was not there now and now I'm experiencing it. No, it will see it was always there. Why didn't I see this earlier? This is so amazing. This is so enlightening. So that is the thing. This is an inquiry. Inquiry on what? The inquiry on our already available experience. Not on belief, not on trying to get something new, already available experience. What are those lines from Ulysses? Probably, I forget. Lines are like this. I think it's Tennyson probably. That we are setting sail now, not to see new things, but to see old things with new eyes. Tennyson? Probably. Old things with new eyes. Old things means these things, this life, but with new eyes. New eyes means the eyes of knowledge. Oh, another interesting thing I read recently in a book in our ashram in Germany. Something so amazing which I had not read earlier, a quotation from a medieval non-dualist, Shankara Bharati. He says, what are these non-dualists like? What are they like? He says, Vishparita lochana trayastu Vedantina. These Vedantics, these non-dualists, are people who have three eyes wide open. Three eyes wide open. Two eyes wide open just like us, we see the world. If your eyes are open, you see the world. And maybe you might close the eyes in prayer or meditation, not seeing the world, trying to see something else. But these Vedantins are those who have two eyes open, plus one more. Two eyes open, they're seeing the world. But plus one more. The other one, the third eye, the eye of knowledge, this Vedantic knowledge. I see. Like that border guard, seeing the donkey with new eyes now. Oh, I see. This is what you are smuggling. Similar. What's the method here? The method in bhakti is devotion and prayer and singing and tears and emotion, based on emotion, feeling. The method in meditation, in the way of mystical experience, is meditation, and how you sit and how you focus your mind and breathe and meditative exercises, using the mind, the thinking as a basis. But the method here is inquiry. Is using the intellect to look into our current condition. Remember, one caution as we go into it. It can look very intellectual. It isn't intellectual. It isn't intellectual really. It is, I'd love to call it, the term I like is experiential knowledge. Experiential knowledge. Like I know I am Sarvapriyananda. So it's knowledge, I know I am Sarvapriyananda. Am I experiencing it? Yeah, of course. I know what it is to experience being Sarvapriyananda like that. So when you know this, it's not that you learn a very nice new philosophy, which it is, it's very fascinating. But also, simultaneously you experience it. You experience it. One Swami put it very nicely, that in Vedanta you have to have the attitude of a child. If you tell a child something, what's a nose? I'm translating from Hindi, not kya hai. What's a nose? The child will not say a nose is the organ of respiration and olfactory sense. No, the child will say nose, this is the nose. Similarly in Vedanta, at every step we will have to be like nose. Every step is available to us until the final enlightenment, already available to us. Try to grab it like the nose. Physically nose you can grab, but as we go to subtler states you can't grab it, but you can see it for yourself. With this background, I still haven't started, and I'm going to start. But it's a very short and powerful teaching. I'm just taking the teaching from a medieval Vedanta text, maybe written, we don't know, we are not sure about the authorship, Drigdrishya Viveka. Some attribute it to Shankaracharya 1300 years ago. Others attribute it to Vidyaranya Swami 700 years ago in the south of India, in the area of Karnataka and Andhra, Telangana, that area. So, only one verse. We will do that and then we'll stop. The verse goes like this. It's the first verse of the Drigdrishya Viveka, which is a short text. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik tadrishyam driktu manasam drishyadhivrittaya sakshi drigeva natu drishyate. It operates on the principle that the seer and the seen are different. They are different entities. So I am seeing this orange cloth, and therefore the eyes which are seeing the orange cloth are different from the orange cloth. That's the first part of the verse. The seer, the eyes, and the seen, the forms, they are different. Different means physically different. In fact, the only thing that the eyes cannot see are the eyes themselves. To see something with the eyes, it has to be something that can be seen, and it has to be at a distance from the eyes. As you bring things closer and closer, in fact there is a blind spot also, which you cannot see. And when you bring something to the eyes itself, it cannot see. The eyes cannot see themselves. It's the basic, the fallacy of self-reflexivity. A thing cannot operate upon itself. Even when we are seeing a mirror and seeing our eyes, you're seeing a reflection of your eyes. Seeing a picture, you're seeing a selfie of your eyes. The way my eyes are seeing this cloth, that way, the eyes are seeing like this. That way the eyes cannot see themselves. Seer and seen are different. The same eyes see many things. They see the orange cloth, they see the beautiful flowers there, they see all of you sitting there, the hall. Same eyes. Objects are different. The seen are different. There are many. Say eyes are the same organ of vision. The objects are changing. You saw something outside, you're seeing something now, you're seeing something else a little later. The objects which you see are changing, but the organ of vision, the seer, is relatively unchanging. With these observations, let's go further. Now notice the technique of teaching in Vedanta. It starts with something so obvious you feel, the Americans have a gesture. Move on. Yeah, we get it, move on. Let's go to something deeper, closer. Consider the eyes themselves. We are aware of our eyes. Eyes are open. Now I'm aware the eyes are closed. I was aware that I could see 20/20 vision. Now I need glasses. Or something has gone into my eyes. It is itchy or scratchy. Like this. We are aware of our eyes. So the eyes themselves become the object, quote unquote, seen. Now what is the seer? It's the mind. The mind is considering the eyes. The mind right now. Remember, to make this work, knows. We have to see it as a fact. Eyes are seeing the orange cloth. Is it a fact or not? Yes. And the orange cloth and the eyes are different. Is it a fact or not? Yes. Like nose. Similarly, the eyes, I'm aware of the eyes. It's not theoretical. It's not speculative. It's a fact, just reporting a fact. I am aware of the eyes and the conditions of the eyes. And the mind which is aware of the eyes is different from the eyes. The seer and the seen are again different. And the mind remaining what it is can be aware of the eyes and the ears and the nose and the whole body and the sensory inputs coming in from the world through all the five senses. Same mind. And the mind remaining relatively unchanging. Mind changes into more mind. The eyes and the other senses undergo so many changes over the lifespan. Same observations. I'm making three observations. Seer and seen are different, apart, distinct. Seer is one, the seen are many. Seer is constant, the seen are changing more or less. This also should be fairly obvious. Now let's make it more subtle, inwards, further inwards. But always, even when it's subtle, our attitude should be knows, yes. Consider the mind itself. Drishyadhivrittaya. The movements of the mind are seen. Seen means We are aware of the movements of our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, our memories, even the sense of ego. I am sitting here and speaking. I am aware of it. These are facts of my experience. So the contents of the mind are also seen. They are drishya, they are seen. If they are seen, the seer and the seen are different, so there must be a distinct seer of the mind. Now you can argue it out later on. That why not say the mind itself is seeing the mind, and see what logical contradictions that will lead to. But anyway, here I am just claiming there is a seer of the contents of the mind, that much. And the seer and the seen are different. You, whatever you are, you, the seer of the contents of your mind, you are not the mind. You are distinct from the mind. We are not our minds, which is such a great, great relief. Body is there, mind is there, but we are not the body or the mind. We are the seer of the body and the mind. Why is it a relief? One sadhu put it very beautifully. How to apply Vedanta, how to use it for peace, for enlightenment, to become lighter. He said, I'll tell you what he said in Hindi first, and then translate. Jo jahan ki cheez hai Mahatma ji, usko wahi rehne do. Whatever belongs, wherever it belongs, keep things where they belong, oh monk. Keep things. This is called the Atman. This is called pure consciousness, Chit. Now we understand when Shankaracharya sings, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am of the nature of pure consciousness. I am bliss. I am consciousness. I am bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. But before that he says, Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittani Naham. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory, I am not even the ego, not even the one which says I, not even that, because that's also an object. You are aware of the ego, then the ego is also an object. It's a seen. You are the seer of the ego. That seer, that witness consciousness, always there. Always there. I'll prove it to you in two ways. Two little exercises will stop. Let's go to 3 exercises, one or 2 minutes each. Each one will show you the same thing. One is the Drigdrishya Vivek exercise, which we did just now. We will do it this way. So if you are sitting relaxed, take a deep breath, clear the mind, relax the body, and pay attention. With the eyes open, notice this orange cloth in my hand. This is an orange cloth. You are seeing a cloth, its color is orange, the orange is in the cloth. It is seen, the eyes are the seer. Notice, the eyes and the cloth are different. They are physically distinct, just in a naive, simple way. They are different, they are distinct. Now, close the eyes. Open the eyes and close the eyes. Notice, you are aware of the opening of the eyes, you are aware of the closing of the eyes, we are aware of our eyes. The eyes are the object. Eyes are the seen. I am, so to say, the seer. Which is the seer? It is the mind. Which thinks, which considers, which remembers, which processes information, not only from the eyes, from the ears, nose, skin, taste, touch, all of that. And this mind is distinct from the visual organ called the eyes, also from the auditory organ called the ears, and all the rest of the body. Now, third stage. Notice the thoughts in the mind. Memories, thoughts. Mind is very mischievous. When you tell think a thought, it will not think. When you tell the mind stop, silent, it will think many thoughts. So if you are thinking a thought, you are the, notice just one thing, you are the seer of those thoughts. If you are not thinking any thought, mind is not being cooperative, then you are the seer of the absence of the thoughts, but you are the seer. You have noticed the thoughts and the absence of thoughts in the mind. You are distinct from the mind. You are the witness of the mind. That witness is not an object. It's there. How do we know that you are there? Because you are aware of the mind. Through the mind you are aware of the senses. Through the senses you are aware of the world. This is the witness consciousness. Gently open the eyes. Exercise 1, there is actually a full meditation sequence in the Drigdrishya Viveka. 6 techniques to discover this one. This has to be done carefully, slowly. Another way of doing it is eyes open. You are seeing, ears, you are hearing. Are you there? Do you exist? There's right here in France, the great philosopher Descartes. He says, one thing we know for sure, that we exist. I am. I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. So I am, you exist. All of us will admit, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Close your eyes. Are you still there? Do you exist? Are you aware? Do you exist? You say, yeah, I can't see anymore. Or I can see only darkness, but I am there. Now visualize or imagine. If you could not hear, if you could not smell, you could not taste, you could not touch. No sensory experience, sensory deprivation tank. And your feelings are neutral, you're calm. Do you still exist? Yeah, I exist. I'm not seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, but I exist. And now suppose you don't think. Stop thinking. Suppose, it's not possible, not so easy, but suppose we are not thinking, we are not remembering anything. Suppose all our memory is gone. I don't even remember my own name. I don't remember where I am. I don't remember who I am. I don't remember anything in the world. All memory is gone. All thinking stops. I'm not trying to understand anything. I'm not desiring anything. I'm not hating anything. My feelings are neutral. Stop. Blank. Do you still exist? Yeah, I guess I still exist. Gently open your eyes. That one which exists now is the same one which exists with your eyes closed, with all the senses shut down. Is exactly the same one which exists with all the thinking and remembering and desiring stopped. That one is not an object. It's not something that you see here. It's not something that you imagine or remember in the mind. It's not even the darkness of deep sleep, of shutting down everything. It's that which is the witness of all three. These three are simulations of waking, dreaming, sleeping. This is waking, with eyes open. With eyes closed, imagining, thinking, remembering. It's a bit like the dream world, like daydreaming. And stop that, that's a bit like deep sleep. But in all three, you were there. That's the witness consciousness. Third example, a third exercise, is very nice. It is suggested by this psychologist who uses Vedanta, Greg Good in New York. So, it works very nicely. It's a little bit of a trick, but it works very nicely. The witness consciousness will get there. He asks, you can try this yourself. He asks, try to locate this sense of I. We all say I, and we all feel that we are here, somewhere I am here. Where exactly? Generally we say the body, but where exactly? And he says, alright, let me force you to locate the I. Think of a line, a horizontal line dividing through your waist. It's like through your waist, lower body and upper body. Now where are you? If I force you to say, try to find yourself, your feeling of I. It's a psychological feeling of I. Is it below the waist, in your knees, or is it somewhere above the waist? And I guess all of us will say it's above the waist, unless you have a knee pain or something like that. we are generally, somewhere upper body we feel I am there. Alright, second step. Draw a horizontal line through the chest, mentally. And where am I? If I force you to choose, below the chest or above the chest, somewhere. Most of us will say, I feel. Try to find out yourself, feel it, and feel above somewhere. Then through the neck. Suppose you draw a line through the neck mentally, vertical, horizontal. The sense of I, is it here in the chest or somewhere below, or is it somewhere in the head? Some will say it's in the chest, somewhere here. Some will say it's somewhere in the head. It's alright, whichever it is. Most people will feel it's in the head. And there's a good reason why we feel our sense of I is in the head. Our sense organs, it's very rich. The eyes are here, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the skin is very sensitive here. So that's why we feel a presence here. Alright, that's alright. In the head, I am somewhere here. If you force me to say, where are you in the body? It will be somewhere here in the head. Just open your eyes for a minute, little bit of unnecessary gruesome aside. I read an article, it's a true thing. They were planning a head transplant. Yes, it's banned in Europe and in America, so they were planning it in Russia, I think. So this, they didn't actually do it. This man who was paralyzed from neck down, he was a candidate, I am ready for a head transplant. So they are waiting for a person who dies brain dead, but the body is healthy. So they'll cut off the head of that person, cut off the head of this person, lift this head and put it there, and see if you can have a head transplant. Now, I have a sense of, luckily they didn't do it, but I have a sense of eye in the head. And now he says, draw these two lines vertical through the ear and through the eyes like this, two vertical lines, dividing the head as it were into three parts. This part, and this part. Okay? Now he is forcing us to say, where do you feel yourself? Are you here? Where do you locate yourself? In your left ear or do you locate yourself in the center of the skull? Most people will say center of the skull, somewhere behind the eyes or behind the forehead or behind the eyes. More or less we will agree to this. If you are forced to say, I am here, somewhere. Good. Now, feel it. Actually feel like nose. I am here. That I which you feel here, you feel it, you are aware of it. What is aware of it? I am here. Who or what is aware of I am here? And what are you? Are you the I which is here or that which is aware of the I which is here? You follow the question? On which side are you? Are you a feeling of the I here or that which is observing the I here? You are that which is observing the I here, and that can never be located. That's the real you. That's the Sakshi, witness consciousness. Try this at leisure at home. Don't try too much. General result is not enlightenment, general result is a headache. But the point here is, at no point is it a theory. Eyes are not theory. Mind is not theory, and so the witness of the mind is not a theory. It's not a theory. All the time it is like nose. Except the last one is not an object. It is you yourself. I could go on and on with this, but we have run out of time. So we will take up question answer. Let me do a peace chant and then we'll do Q&A and coffee, and tea and coffee.
অলরেডি অনেক মানে পড়েও দেখেছি সাংখ্যযোগের 16তে সাংখ্যযোগের 16 নম্বর যে অসৎ তার সত্তা নেই, যে সৎ তার বিনাশ নেই। তাহলে মাইন্ড আমি কি মাইন্ড বলে দিচ্ছে আর মানে আমি যদি এবার পরমাত্মাই বলি তাহলে পরমাত্মা এক্সিস্টিং ফরএভার, কিন্তু তার জন্য মাইন্ডের দরকার, আমার বিশ্ব দরকার দ্রষ্টার জন্য।
This is a good question. Let me summarize the question to you and then answer. This is a good question. This question has two parts. He is asking, he says, whenever I do this inquiry, even in the final moment when I am the witness of the mind, this I am the witness of the mind, he put it very beautifully. The mind follows me back to the witness and says, you are the witness of the mind. See, orange cloth. Eyes are seeing the orange cloth, and eyes are different from the orange cloth. The orange cloth does not follow the eyes back and say, you are the eyes. No, orange cloth keeps its distance. But when it comes to the mind, I am the witness of the mind. Even this, the mind is saying. It's as if the mind has followed you back. And now it's telling, yes, you are the witness. Still the mind which is speaking, isn't it the mind? This is part one of the question. Let me deal with this. Second part is also very important. Part 1 is subtle part. You see the question? Question can be put in this way. All this exercise is being done by the mind, and the final thing which you are saying, I am the witness of the mind, isn't that also the mind? It's just the thinking in the mind. Are you really the witness? Something distinct from the mind? It's just the mind saying it. Now, the logic is tight as it is, and you feel that you are the witness of the mind. Please sit and be relaxed. This is informal discussion. But why this problem? This problem with the mind is because you need the mind to say it. That's the function of the mind. Let me give a good example. And all of this comes from Vedanta masters. Because this question obviously they face. The answer they give is like this. When I say, I am happy, what is saying it actually? The tongue, the voice box, the lungs, the vocal mechanism is saying, I am happy. But where is the happiness? It's in the mind. Something in the mind is being reported by the tongue. Why? Because it's the tongue's function to speak. Even when the thought is about the mind is happy. But it is being